these elements really give you an idea of your energy, and it also will let you know when your energy may be out of balance or when it may be in balance, depending on the traits of those elements. So it's very important that we know what element we are.
Welcome back, Queen. Welcome back. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me back. I'm glad to be here and I'm doing very well. Thank you. As you know, we're in our reputation cycle, so we're both probably doing good.
Hey, hey. What about our reputation cycle makes it so special?
Well, all these cycles that we go through in Astro-Numerology, well, that 52-day birthday to birthday cycle, that's a doozy. And when your birthday hits, for those next 52 days, you're in a cycle where people are being nicer to you. It's kind of like an extension of your birthday. It's like if you want favors, this is a good time to ask for them. So it's a good time. It's a good time for like vital health and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
So, Queen, are you telling me that I'm able to ask people for stuff during this season?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. If you
And
want to ask people for stuff, you better get it in before that 52 days is over.
and I'll make sure that I tell them you told me to ask.
Okay, you gotta set me up. That's okay. You let them know that I said you can ask.
I'm gonna say, Queen told me to ask you, and because you're supposed to give it to me.
And I bet you they will. I bet you they will.
So there's another thing that I thought about today. When I was growing up, I used to hear people ask all the time, and we were little. I don't even know how we knew about this, but they would say, "What is your zodiac sign?" And for a long time, I must admit, I didn't know what my zodiac sign was, but I didn't tell people because I didn't want them to think that I was crazy. But everybody knew what their zodiac sign was and a brief description of what it meant for them. But now I hear something since I've been on the metaphysical level that I didn't hear before. When they asked for the zodiac sign, they never said anything about an element, the four elements. So I want to know from you today, in case there's somebody out there who has not heard of the four elements, what are the four elements?
So the four elements are really the building blocks to everything that we need in life. They're everything that the world is created from, right? So you have fire, you have earth, you have air, you have water. These are all four essential things that we need to be alive on this planet. So those are what the four elements are. And then every zodiac sign is associated with an element. And that kind of gives you clues or hints as to how this person expresses physically, right? So if they're a fire sign, usually that fire element is very passionate and proactive, right? Very willful and maybe somewhat forceful at times. So these elements really give you an idea of your energy. And it also will let you know when your energy may be out of balance or when it may be in balance, depending on the traits of those elements. So it's very important that we know what element we are. And we have lots of different elements in our chart because we have a lot of different uh, things that we look at when we look at a numerology chart. And then even also on your astrological birth chart, it's set up to say, like, how much fire do you have in your chart? So elements make up everything creation, and we're a part of creation, so we're no different.
Thank you, Queen. I heard you mention numerology. You threw numerology in the mix, so you know I have to ask a question. We know now what the elements mean for our zodiac sign. How does numerology play a part in this? What does the elements do for us through numerology?
So, almost similar to how they play a role in our zodiac sign, all of us are not just a zodiac sign. We also were born on a specific date, right? So, the way that I look at it is you have a blend. So, you have a blend of your zodiac sun sign, and then you have a blend of your astronumeric number of the date that you were born on. So, for instance, if we were to take, let's just take Michael Jackson's birthday. He was born on August 29th. So that makes him a Virgo. But being born on the 29th, when we add the 2 plus 9 together, that equals an 11, which we know is a master number. But if we want to go ahead and just break that down to the base number 2, we know that 2 is a water number. So Michael Jackson is a earth sign with a water number. So now this creates a whole energetic profile for him. Okay. So he's pragmatic and steadfast and grounded, but he's also sensitive and he's intuitive and he's an analyzer with that two energy. So when we combine these things, they combine to make what I call our astro-numeric descriptor. And what we need to make sure we know is what our astro-numeric descriptor is, how that describes us, and how that energy shows up for us so we can make sure that we're keeping in balance with it. Let me also add, Kimberly, because I want to make sure I answer the question all way completely. We use Michael Jackson as an example with him being a number 2, basically. All of the numbers 1 through 9 have an association with the elements, and even the master numbers have their own association with the elements. So if we go 1 through 9, we go 1 is fire, 2 is water, 3 is fire, 4 is air, 5 is air, 6 is earth, 7 is water, 8 is earth, 9 is fire, 11, that master number is fire and water because it's fire because it has those 2 ones, but it's water because when you add it up, it's still a 2 at the end of the day. And then you have the master number 22, which is air, but it's also water to me because it's got the 2 twos, that's the water portion of it. And then you got that 2 plus 2, that equals a 4 all day. So that's the air portion of it. And then I also have extended this in my numeralytic study to the master number 33. And that master number 33 is fire and earth, that stable, passionate, disciplined energy of a master number 33 who is here to heal and teach and uplift the community.
Wow, that is amazing. And thank you for breaking down the numbers for me because I think you're telepathic because I was just getting ready to ask you that question. But I will ask you for the purposes of our viewers, can you break down the zodiac signs so that we all know what our elements are?
Yes, absolutely, Queen. So let's start with the fire elements. So if you're a fire element, then your sign would be either Leo, or let me start from the beginning, Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. Okay, so those are the fire elements. The water elements are going to be Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Okay. The air elements are going to be Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And the earth elements are going to be Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Okay. So as you can see, this gets very intricate. And that fusion of that astronumeric descriptor really explains to us our energy. It's like our energy profile.
Awesome, awesome. So I have a question. I have to be selfish. I want you to break down by element my birthday.
Of course. Of course I can do that for our master number 22. So you can believe you're August 22nd. So you're a Leo, master number 22. So you're a fire sign with an air number, but you also, I feel like you're also a water number because you got that 22. So you have a lot of water tendencies, most likely. And the way that you do things really involve that water energy, I'm sure. You probably kind of lead with feelings sometimes, but that number 4 is air for you. So if we were to break your descriptor down, Kimberly, we would say that you are very passionate, proactive, okay? You are passionate, proactive, intellectual, methodical thinker. That would be your astronumeric descriptor for your birthday.
And that would be correct.
Yes, it's very
A
correct. It's
plus.
A plus. Thank you so much. And it is really accurate because it's really blending the most powerful two sciences to me, astrology and numerology. So it's blending those two things together and giving you a full profile of your personality, of your individuality. So it really does become to be spot on when you get down and gritty with it.
And I feel like this concept is what gives astronumerology depth because you're looking at more than just the number. Astronumerical descriptor. I've heard you talk about that before. So, can you tell us exactly what the astronumerical descriptor consists of?
Yes. So the astronumeric descriptor, and I often refer to it as your because I love acronyms. So astronumeric descriptor is your and. And what I'll do before I really fully answer that, let me tell you when we put it all together, it's your and your if. Okay. So your astronumeric descriptor is your astrological sun sign plus your individual frequency and numerology, which is your birth number. It's those things combined. Okay. And that thing gives you your and your if. Okay. So the way we look at that in numeralytics, that's your and your if. And if you know these things, then you can know how to navigate and you can know how to move, who you get along with better, who you may not get along with better. It can give you clues to all of these things.
I like how you said "and if." So, if we would take the example that you gave for me, my astronumerical descriptor would be a fire sign with a air number.
Yeah, so you would be a FSAN.
Yay! I got it right, queen. I got it right.
Yes.
So, what about some elements may not get along as much together? So, what happens when you have those elements that don't quite get along together? How do you handle that?
So the way you handle that, and I'm glad you asked that because what we have is a matrix that we look at. So, so we have an astronumerical matrix, an astronumeric descriptor matrix. And in each matrix has one for fire signs, one for air signs, one for earth signs, and one for water signs. And the way that we look at that matrix is for each elemental division, we basically we take each there's only four that you can be in each elemental division. So we take each four combinations for each division and we number them in order from, we'll say, most favorable to maybe most intensified, because we don't want to say it's least favorable, but we'll go from most favorable to most intensified. Okay. So let's just take the fire element, for example. If we were looking at the fire element, the most favorable combination that you can have as a fire sign would be a fire sign with an air number, which is what you are, a FSAN. So on the astronumeric descriptor matrix, the fire sign air number is the number one. And that's favorable because they're very compatible and complementary to each other. They're very combustible energy. So it's creation with movement, and that's like a lot of movable passion, right? And you can get things done with that methodical thinking, putting that proactive passion behind it. Now, let's move down the spectrum to the second most favorable in that combination for fire. The second most favorable in the combination for fire would be earth. So fire sign earth number. And that's because earth is the negative pole to fire. So it makes it easier for the qualities to transmute each other. Okay. And when something transmutes, it basically is creating something, taking everything together and creating something better. Right. Um, Or what can happen with this one is you can go too much into the earth side or too much into the fire side. So that's also a possibility. But the way we look at that is, so the fire sign earth number, that's going to be the second most favorable combination. And the fire can be used to unlock those earth qualities. And then what we get out of that is that stable, passionate, disciplinary, pragmatic energy. But what we do is now when we come to the third one, because this is where we might have to do some things to unlock now. The third combination would be fire sign water number. So fire and water can only unlock through contact as steam. So oftentimes when you see these people, which is me, I'm a fire sign with a water number. So I'm very passionate, I'm very emotional and passionate behind what I do, often sometimes kind of loud and boisterous with it. And that's that passionate fire and that emotional water energy kind of coming together to create steam. So one thing we say with that is you have to make sure that's balanced, because if that's not balanced, that can be bottled up emotions and then you explode on people. So it's very explosive, passionate energy, but we want to make sure that we balance that out by adding some earth energy. So this is the way we handle when some of the energies may not be as favorable. We add the other elements to kind of ground them and bring them back to a point where they can balance each other out. Okay. We can also look at it very individually by looking at, well, is it all of your water energy that's out of balance, or is it your fire energy that's out of balance? So we can also do different techniques for that. And then the fourth combination that is the most intensified, I'll say, is the fire sign fire number, because that's a lot of forceful, direct, overpowering, maybe sometimes explosive fire energy is very intense. And when the signs are the same, when the elements are the same, so that's fire, fire, air, air, earth, earth, water, water. Anytime you have the element the same, that's always the fourth on the matrix, because it can only intensify itself. It can't transmute itself, it can't unlock itself, it can't combust with itself, it can only intensify itself. And that's not that it's a bad thing, but it's just something to watch out for, to make sure you're not being too forceful or, as if we're talking about the fire energy. So what we do there, like again, when we have fire sign, fire number, I like to make sure that that person's incorporating all of the other activities from all of the other energies, so they can kind of make sure that they're you know spreading their energy out, so they're not just too focused and too forceful, because too much of fire, it can burn very fast and then it can cause burnout, so we don't want people to be burnt out. So I know I said a mouthful, so I'll break there.
Not quite. But the interesting thing to me was when you said transmutation. And what that made me think about is it's been said that energy cannot be destroyed, it can only be transferred or transmutated into something else. And
Yep,
that's what
or intensified, go ahead.
Wow. So that's an even deeper layer to our elements and why we need to pay attention when we are out of balance. So that question is, how do we know when one of our elements, whether it's our zodiac sign or our birthday number, is out of balance?
So that's a great question, Kimberly. And there's signs that we can tell, right? So we'll just take again, we'll pick on ourselves because we're fire signs. So when fire is blocked or trapped or out of balance, it can come off as easily frustrated. We're overly aggressive. We could be volatile, be violent, unpredictable, uncontrollable anger, damage in property, stuck, unable to move forward with vision. Um, that's how fire energy can show up as blocked or trapped. So each element profile has different things that we can look at that lets us know if they're in balance or out of balance. And then if we were just to look at, and just so we can round that question out, if we look at fire energy that is in balance, balanced fire energy is very passionate, it's proactive, it's very hopeful and determined, it's energetic, very creative, it's got vital energy, it's healthy, you know, it's like its manifestation is transformation power. And it can be intense, and that's a good thing, right? as long as it's not overly intense. So there's things that we can look at to say, hey, how am I this month? That's why it's important that we understand what elements are that make us up so we can recognize the signs and the symptoms, if there's something wrong, or to see also, hey, we're doing great. We must be in balance because look, all this stuff we're getting done.
Queen, tell the truth. Do we come up on that first list? Have we been out of balance? Have we been destroying people's property? These
Well,
are
I don't know about that one, but there's definitely been times where I've been out of balance, queen. And, you get mad, you get angry, you get frustrated, you start cursing people out, and
yeah,
it happens to all of us, to the best of us. So
and
it's
don't
good to
mess around
recognize that.
and throw some water in that mix.
Listen, you throw that water in that mix and you might drown the whole place out. I'm
I know
telling
what
you.
you mean. I don't think it's strange at all. I know exactly what you mean. And to be honest with you, I think that there's a lot of people that may be imbalance. And we see these people all the time. We see them walking on the street, or we might even work with them or be close with them. And we see that they're out of balance with their element or their cosmic DNA, as I like to call it. But they may not even know because they don't even know about their elements. They don't even know what elements are. They may know their zodiac sign, but they don't know how important knowing the elements are. Today, I want to introduce everybody to something that is going to help people to recognize their element when they're in balance, when they're out of balance. And I'm so excited to say that I have mine. I have sun, moon, and
Very
ascendants. And I had to get the fire signs and it's a reflection journal. That is the beautiful part. Can you tell us about the reflection journal that you have written?
So I want to thank you so much, Kimberly, for being one of the first people to support the journal. Of course, you got a fire sign journal. But what I'll tell you, Kimberly, is you also could have gotten this air sign journal. Okay. Because you're a fire sign, but remember, you're an air number. So remember, like I said, we all have that unique astro-numeric descriptor that explains the blend of energy that make us up, right? So of course you're a fire sign and you got the fire signs, which is great because this will help you a whole lot. But if you get the fire sign and the air sign, because the air sign will also have air qualities about it. Okay. It'll talk about the signs that are associated with that air number of yours, that 4. Okay. So, yes. I forgot the
That's the
question.
perfect blend.
Yes.
I get both books. Yeah, so I gotta get my air book.
So you got to get your air book. Now, for me, I would get a fire sign with the water sign book because I'm a fire sign water number. Okay. So the reason why I did the journals is because, like you said, we've been discussing this the whole show. This is very important. This is also a part of my numeralytics that I do when I do my readings, when I do my consultations with people. This is something that I've been working on, and I've um, started a whole matrix with this. Like you've heard about the matrix with the signs and going from 1 to 4, but there's also an astronumeric descriptor matrix for every birthday. Every birthday has one. So these are the types of things that we're going to be learning about through my other book that'll be coming out soon on astronumerology and on numeralytics. And this is just kind of a segue because when you do get that, and then you do start learning more about your sign and your number, these are the types of things that you can do. You can write down in a reflection journal, what cycle was I in when I felt this way? Different things like that. And then you can look at the front, there's prompts in there. You can look at different crystals and herbs that I have in there that can help you to get that energy back in balance, of course, along with a lot of different activities that you can do as well. And I hope I answered the question.
Yes, you did, but you know what? I consider this as self-care. Because if you are one of those people that are out of balance with your element and you start learning and will learn about your elements in this book. This is one thing that the book does. It teaches you about your element. It teaches you when you are in balance. It teaches you when you're out of balance. And as you said, it breaks down everything, your colors. It talks about your crystals. So this is something that everybody really needs to know about. And when you journal, first of all, taking that space out to journal about what's happening inside of you will open up a lot for you, especially when you see that it's connected to the elements that are connected to your cosmic DNA. So I think that this is really a self-care book, and everyone really needs this to understand how they are presenting themselves in the world. Since there are journal prompts in here. There's one thing that I want to do, and this may shock you, but I'm going to read a journal prompt for you, and I want you to answer the journal prompt. And by the way, there are journal prompts here for you, but you don't necessarily have to use the journal prompts. You can also create your own prompts, or you can just, like Queen said, you can just document the cycles that you're going through at the time. But let's see, because I don't want you to think that you're getting out of this, Queen.
I know I'm not getting away with that.
Oh, and I really like the part too about the herbs.
Yes,
That's an extensive list. Okay, so
yes.
let's see.
And
Journal
we all got to
prompt.
understand that all of those things that are in there, these are the things that can help bring us into balance. Or these are things like, suggestions on places that you could go when you want to just clear your mind, that it gives you physical manifestations of each element. So it's just really a really comprehensive look at it.
It is, and I'm going to Leo because I know you're Leo energy. With that being said, I just want to let you know this is the fire sign journal, and it has every fire sign in here. So it teaches about all of the fire signs. So we're going to go to Leo. And the journal prompt that I'm picking for you, Queen, is
Mhm.
creative expression.
Mm.
And you are being called to describe a recent project or creative endeavor that made you feel proud. How did you channel your inner fire into this work, and what was the outcome?
So these are the outcomes. So let's start from the backwards, answering the question backwards. This is the outcome. Fire sign reflection journal, balance and elemental energy, water signs, air signs, and we can't forget about our earth signs, and we're in Virgo right now. So this is the outcome. How did I channel the energy? Well, Kimberly, I'm glad you asked. I am in a one personal year. So right now, I'm at a time where this is the time that I should be stepping out on faith, creating something new, being very creative, inventive, expressive. And I already have another book in the works that I'm working on, which is slightly larger than this book. Um, and it's going to be about astronumerology. And I was slated to have that book ready for my birthday, August 20th. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. So when I knew that that wasn't going to be ready, I said to myself, as the creative, passionate, proactive Leo that I am, I said, I have to give something for the Universal Supreme to have. I've been working on all these things. I've been working on all these concepts. I have things right now that I could put together that I can use to help everyone out there in the collective. So I said, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to get these journals done while I wait to get my other book out. So that's what I did. I just sat there. I channeled the energy. Um, I think it probably took me I wanna say it probably took me about a week to get it all together because, I already had the information. It was just a point of how was I gonna format that information to put it into a book. So I just did that. I formatted everything. And then it took time because, you had to do each element. And I wanted to make sure that each element and everything that I was doing was embodying, the element. It was embodying the full energy profile as much as I could. Because, I don't like leaving details out. So I wanted to make sure that I did that. And I did. So I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud of these journals. I think they're beautifully aesthetically. These are my first published books, my first, not going to be my last. So I'm very excited. It was a much tedious journey, but a lot of learning, a lot of trial and error. So I'm glad I did it. And now I have the skills to do it, and it makes it a lot easier for the next project that I want to put out.
And we'll be waiting on that. Congratulations to you, queen. Yeah, we're waiting on the extra stuff. We're waiting for the stuff that you got bottled up because I know it's a whole warehouse of stuff. You got the
Yes.
Akashic records of
I
information.
like the way you put that.
No, I know how you work.
Mhm.
I know how you
No, you
work.
do. Thank you. Thank you, Queen.
But you know what? The green. Can you hold that one up again?
Yes,
I don't know
ma'am. This is where we
why.
are right now, guys. We're in Virgo season.
But that color really is beautiful to that color stands out to me for some reason, I don't know, I like the green. Which one did you start on first? Was it fire?
Yes. So,
Oh, I
the
bet
fire,
you
of
did.
course, of course, we started with Leo. We got to start with Leo and Aries.
Yeah.
Period. One of the zodiac. So we started with Aries and Leo and Sagittarius, the fire signs. Because I'm a fire sign, so naturally when I started doing the research, I started with fire signs. So that's just the way that it was broke down in the spreadsheet. So we just like to go in order around here.
Wow. Yes. Yes.
Yes. And
So
I thought the colors, yeah, I wanted the colors to really embody all the colors, embody the colors of the elements. And that was by design. Everything that you see here on these books is intentful and on purpose.
the colors are beautiful. The
Thank
colors
you.
are beautiful, yes,
Thank you so
and
much.
as you said, it does feel good to hold in your hand. It does.
Yes.
It's very beautiful design, so thank you for offering that to humanity. Maybe we can, get some of these people on the right track, get them balanced, find some
I
balance.
think we can, and especially at the price for these journals, because these journals are priced so perfectly, especially for like office gifts. Because I know in office gifts have to be under $10 and kind of stuff like that. And sometimes when you do Pollyannas and stuff or whatever, it has to be under $10 or under a certain amount. You're getting this journal that is $10 and it's the most impactful. It's the best 10 that you'll ever spend. I've already got a couple for gifts for people and they loved it. I just had it sent straight to them and they loved it. So it's really a great gift. Like if especially if you get invited to a party and you don't know what to get the person, even if the person's not into it, it's their birthday. They'll like something that has their birthday that's associated with their birthday on it. So it's really the perfect gift. And it's perfect, like I said, to give at an office party or something like that.
It is a perfect gift because when somebody gifts me a journal, I get so excited. It feel like they
Yeah.
just put a whole bunch of money in my pocket, but I guess because I do love the write, but I like receiving journals. I do. And this one, this is a classic for me. You know, this is my favorite journal now.
Thank you. Thank you, Queen.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Look what I just happened to find on Amazon. And I got the sun, moon, and ascendant, I got the fire signs out. That's a shame, right?
It's a
Is that
shame.
selfish?
That is, we a little selfish. We a little biased. You know how we Leos get that bad rap for that.
Are we? Is that out of balance?
No, that's not out of balance. That's normal.
So make sure that you get your copy on Amazon. And not only that, I'm going to leave a link right above at the top of your screen so that you can click on that link and the go straight there to the page to order the books. And Queen, how else can we reach out to you for consultations and for reports, anything that we may need?
Yes. So make sure you guys are all subscribed to my YouTube, Numeralytics. And of course, we have the Numbers Matter podcast. It's kind of been on a little hiatus right now because I'm doing a lot of work in other areas, but make sure you guys are subscribed to that because we do have some great things coming up. You can also find me on my website at numeralytics.biz. You can book a consultation through the website. You can also go to besmartclothing.com to buy t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, book bags, socks, aprons, towels. We have a lot of merch there with the Queens and Kings Up merch, also Numeralytics merch and different things that you can get there. And then you can always hit me on my moon line, which is 302-492-7722. You can hit me on the moon line. And if you want to follow me on social media, I'm on all social media is at Numeralytics or at BTV.
You know what, Queen? I love the moon line. Is that the name of it, the moon line?
Yeah.
It sounds like some kind of program where you'll be deep diving into
Well,
ancient secrets.
it was so funny when I got that number. I didn't ask for that number, but it had all those moon numbers in it. I said, I guess that's my energy.
I love it.
Thank you.
Do you have any closing words for us today?
Yes. First of all, I want to thank you, Kimbaley, for having me back on Astro-Numerology Revealed. I'm so happy to be here. And I'm really happy that I was able to come talk about elemental energy and balancing elemental energy. And we know that spells out B. You guys know how I love those acronyms. So I'm just happy to really be able to share this with the collective. And I just want to make sure that if you don't know what your astronumeric descriptor is, make sure you reach out to myself, Kimbaley, or Lloyd, or any astronumerologist. Any numerologist can help you with this energy. So make sure that you reach out to us so that we can get you on the right track and make sure that you know your energy. And then I want you to go buy one of these reflection books. These are great to have. They're great as something with the family. So if you're like a little close knit family, you can get one for everybody in the family. And then that way, all of you guys can journal at night before you go to bed. So, that's another thing that you could do with these journals. So I just want to make sure that everyone knows their energy. And the one way that you can do that if you're not ready to reach out is to purchase these journals because it can really help you with that.
Thank you so much, and I agree with you. And that sounds so nice, like the whole family coming together and journaling before sleep. And I think that's really important because we need to be mindful of what we're taking in right before we go to sleep, because those things linger on the mind all night long, whether you realize it or not.
That's
So
right.
you need to be journaling at the end of the night. And what better way to journal than by journaling about yourself, the elements that you're in, the cycles that you're in, to get to know yourself. Congratulations, Queen. I'm wishing you all the best on your, I call it a series. This is a book series. This is not just a book.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And I'm wishing you all the success on your series. And like I said, we're going to be waiting for that other content to come out. We are going to have you back and we'll have this conversation again. And the door is always open for you, Queen. But
Yes,
thank you
thank
so
you.
much for
Thank you.
joining this show. It's been an honor. It's truly an honor.
Thank you so much, Queen, and I'm so glad that you said the door is always open because I like walking through that door, and the door is always open to you. And I think now that I'm on Astro-Numerology Reveal, we're playing tennis here. So now that I'm here, now it's your turn, Queen. Next time we see each other, you're gonna be back on Numeralytics.
That's just like a fire sign.
That's right. We're prepared. We're proactive.
Thank you, Queen.
Thank you. Peace, love, and kings and queens up to the nation.